Hello and welcome to the farm, or welcome back if you're a returning viewer. We've had some wonderful weather these past weeks of August and September. Good for making hay, growing grass, feeding the sheep. Here you'll see the sheep on weed patrol. I hope you'll enjoy these few clips I've put together. If following the life of an aging farm woman as she learns to adapt and make do on the farm, making changes to fit circumstances, raising a small flock of sheep, a pasture and hay to feed those sheep, spinning and knitting, then I hope you'll follow along. There's usually coffee and cake. So welcome. Well, good morning and welcome to the My Wool Mitten podcast. My name is Carrie and I'm coming to you from the middle of the Mitten, Michigan's Lower Peninsula, where I live on a small farm with a small flock of sheep, Kyle the Wonder Horse, who's over here, Bailey the farm dog, who's down beside me, and B-Cat, who's probably sleeping somewhere after a night of hunting. I live here with my family all around me. The kids and grandkids live on other parts of the farm, so they're close by. And so yeah, as we often say, it seems like happens, I had filmed a whole segment of checking the sheep to see if anybody needs to be dewormed, trimming hooves, putting sheep coats on, and evidently I never hit start or I didn't have enough room on the camera, and so when I went to edit that video this morning, I didn't have it. So this won't be as much detail as all of that, but I thought I'd sit down for a minute after I did the chores and record. How have you guys been? We've been busy with end of summer stuff and summer stuff, haying and different things. This little group behind me, and you probably won't see anybody lifting their heads up, but that's the lambs that I've just weaned, ones that are going to new homes, and a couple that are staying here. And so it's pretty quiet right now, but we could have ewes start hollering here at any time. The flock looks pretty good. We've had a lot of rain and a lot of hot weather, so it's difficult year trying to stay ahead of the parasite issue. But on the plus side, there's been a lot of pasture as well. So that's what's going on there. I've gotten a new ram lamb, and he's actually in this pen. You'll see him maybe moving around. He's got a coat on. And then I have two new ewes coming this Saturday, and so I'm looking forward to introducing you to them from a neighboring farm here in Michigan. And I feel so lucky to be near some really wonderful flocks and to, of course, have a sheep mentor in Karen, who I bought my starter flock from last year. And then Amy is the lady who lives not too far from me. Danny is another gentleman who lives not too far. So kind of a wealth of good bloodlines and sheep nearby. So I won't take long. I just wanted to say hi. And honestly, I did hope maybe a couple of the lambs would come over and visit with us, but I guess they're not going to. Kyle's just hanging out, staying away from the flies. So not much else new going on, just the usual farm stuff. I will have showed you, if you follow me on Instagram, that I've got some trouble with water on my barn floor. And so trying to get that taken care of before winter time. And let's see what else. Working on the fleeces. I have a whole video started for you about the fleeces. I'm going to have that be a standalone video. Had some visitors here at the farm. Bailey has been a good farm dog and has gotten several woodchucks now. I mentioned they were a pest that were quite a problem for me here for a little bit, but she's been doing her best. There's been one that some tussling over there with the sheep. And she probably heard me say her name. It's okay, Bailey. It's all right. One big woodchuck that she just didn't get. Just a minute. I thought I'd take a little footage of me doing some work with these lambs and talk you through a little bit of what I'm doing. And I know you're not seeing up close, and I'm sorry about the light in the background from the window, but I just filmed a little bit of this just to show you me working the sheep by myself and how I go about that. Now, normally, and as you watch this, you might think, Carrie, why did you leave so much room for these lambs to run around and around? And normally, I wouldn't do that. I would pen this down to be about a quarter of the size it is and put everybody in a really tight group. And then that way, they're not able to race around, and I can take a hold of them a lot easier. But I was just doing this on the fly this morning, and they need to get used to me moving around amongst them. Another thing I used to be able to do when the body was a little bit more flexible and functional is to be able to kneel down so I'd be more at their height and not seem intimidating to them. But I can't do that anymore, so we just do this way. And here you see where a coat can come in handy for nabbing a wild lamb. So what I'm doing here is I'm looking at the eyelids. You pull the lower eyelid back and you look to see if it's nice and bright pink, which is good, or if it's pale, which could indicate anemia and a problem with a parasite, with worms, and that they might need a treatment. He looked fine. That's the new ram lamb, Ukiah. And then when I have my hands on them, then I also like to take the opportunity to look at their fleece, see how it's growing, what the color looks like. That helps me decide who might be staying in the flock and who's going. In this case, we already know who's staying and who's being sold. So it's just me kind of checking for my own personal headspace to see how everybody's doing. I have these gates that fit together that are really handy. They're sturdy, but they're easy to move too. And actually, this group of lambs, if I weren't standing up and trying to catch them, if I were just sitting in there with them, they'd come around and want to be petted and want to smell me and see what's happening. But because I'm trying to catch them, then they have to act a little bit crazy. This guy in the front that you see walking around is actually a yearling wether, and he belongs to a friend. He came here to spend the winter, and he'll be going back along with 4 of his closest lamb friends to her farm here in a few weeks. So do you have any questions about what we're doing here? Let me know in the comments down below. You can see that this really is not that big of a space, but they're small and quick. And so I just move slowly and try to be quiet and steady, and they get used to being handled after a while. So I hope you enjoyed that few minutes of this old farm lady doing some lamb work. Thank you for joining me today. If you like this video and haven't already, please click the like and subscribe button here on YouTube and follow along on my journey. You can also find me on Instagram as My Wool Mitten Farm and on Ravelry as My Wool Mitten. I hope you'll come back soon and see what we get up to as we move into the fall season. Have a wonderful week.